Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Rakshit Desai. I'm the CEO of TPConnects Technologies, or TPC, as we are fairly widely known. And my handsome friend here is George. George leads all of our customer engagement activity globally, including sales and account management. We're hoping to talk through with you today some of the themes and insights that have emerged from our decade-long journey in NDC. We hope you find it interesting. We also hope that it would be the start of a conversation, or at least a spark that starts some engagement on this journey for you and helps you as we go along. To start this conversation, and given NDC is about, at some point in the future, personalization as well, what we wanted to do was actually personalize the content of this conversation to your interest. And in order to understand what it is that interests you most, we'd like to kick off with a small quiz. So, George, how does this work?
All right, so there's a barcode, a QR code that you can see on the screen. I want every one of you to take out your phone, scan the QR code, and then we'll start with the quiz. So can I see all the phones out? The QR codes to be scanned. Bring up with some funny names. I've got Deep.
Yeah, George apparently has an online profile called Big Boris.
Find me if you can. Don't worry, we wouldn't be able to find who you are, so it's okay. It's anonymous.
The captain. I like the captain.
The crazy
That's very
captain.
confident. What's a cat man?
Oh, is that something to compete with the Batman around? So I've got to give another 10 more seconds for everyone to
The
participate.
master. George, I thought that was you.
Which one?
The master.
Oh, that's me texting here. Shall we start the quiz then?
Yeah, let's see.
All right, let's hit it.
Why is NDC important to you? Why are you interested in NDC?
Is that all of the above? Is that A? Is that B? C? D?
Okay. So it's mainly to do with cost/fare and process efficiency. Okay. All right. That's interesting.
Were you expecting that?
No, I wasn't actually, to be honest with you. Were you?
Kinda. I was swinging between the access as well as the income from ancillaries.
Okay.
So there you go.
Do we have to click next?
Right. So now getting back to business. Can we move on to the slides, please? Thank you.
Thank you. So now that we have an inkling as to what interests you, I think we can try and come at it from those perspectives or those angles. But firstly, who are we? And why is it that we're here talking to you about NDC? We're a Dubai-founded, Dubai-based global travel technology provider, and we specialize in NDC aggregation and NDC solutions for our customers. We believe, or we're on a mission to build simple and smart solutions that enable the ecosystem to connect and transact with low or no friction. And we're now 130 people, mostly engineers, with some generalists like the two of us, based across the street, building out NDC solutions for global customers. So feel free to visit us. We'd love to talk to you and see how it is that we can help you. We've been at this for a very long time. We started our journey in 2012. We were the pioneer in this space. We were the first to start thinking about a combined API, a single window solution that brought together all GDS, NDC, and LCC content universally. We were the first to deploy. We were the first to aggregate. A few years ago, raised institutional capital in 2 rounds, and we now have a strategic investor and very solid and stable financial backing that's enabling us to take this company, this business, and this product and platform global. So what has this journey taught us? Um, I think there are some broad insights, some challenges, and also some opportunities. George is the sales guy; he's the optimist. I'm more of the pragmatist. So I'll talk through the insights and the challenges, and I'll leave the opportunities to George. Is that okay with you, George?
I always get to do the hard work.
Yeah.
So
So, firstly, we've been talking about NDC for 10 years or maybe 11 years since the term was coined, but it's now real and present, right? And we can see adoption and penetration on the rise, right? 4 billion seats distributed last year. Up until now, near zero NDC adoption or NDC penetration, but that's starting to ramp up, and we think that that will be in double digits. Maybe this year, maybe the next year, but that's that order of magnitude, right? IATA has gone on record to say that 10% of travel agency sales are already NDC. Not a small number. That's 400 million seats sold last year. BCG and IATA put together a report. They think nearly half of airlines are actually looking to extract value from their NDC programs potentially this year or next year, right? And our own view, based on all of the customers that we work with, is that north of 500 million seats will be distributed through some form of NDC assisted technology in the next couple of years. We also know that it's not going to go away and that it's not purely a cost play for airlines. McKinsey has calculated that there's a $15 billion value creation opportunity for airlines from adopting NDC. Only a third of that is actually driven by cost savings. So a lot of us presume that airlines are on this path to optimize distribution costs. Actually, 2/3 of their hypothesis comes from revenue, mainly ancillary revenue. And ancillary revenue crossed $100 billion last year. These aren't small numbers, and that's why we know that it's here to stay. It's also messy. It's an incredibly complex ecosystem. We've got airlines, all sorts of airlines based in different parts of the world that have different objectives that they're trying to achieve through their NDC programs. We have airlines that are very committed to NDC to the point of driving content differentiation and rewarding financially behaviors that drive adoption. We have airlines that are waiting and watching, and they're sort of, they see an option value to being in the game. And we have airlines that haven't even started thinking about it or are vehemently opposed to the whole idea altogether. At the other end, we have sellers or travel agencies that have very, very different requirements. TMCs have different needs to OTAs. OTAs have different needs to consolidators, right? And in the middle is a small number of technology specialists, some very large established incumbents, and some challengers like us that are trying to make sense of this space and make technology more approachable, accessible, and adoptable for people in the ecosystem. But irrespective of where you are in this value chain, there are some significant investment and prioritization decisions that lie ahead of us. Those decisions are further complicated by the fact that there have been, that the birth of NDC has been quite challenged. There's been a lot of friction along the way, and there are significant barriers to adoption that remain. The first is that the business case is unclear, right? The business case, it's easy for us to say that if we were to move to a lower cost distribution platform, there would be synergies, but the trade-off is reach. We've got well-established GDSs that service this ecosystem, that do it at industrial scale. We may envy them their profit margins, but the reality of the situation is that they have got the billions of transactions flowing through those networks, those systems, and that gives them a very low unit cost. For NDC to compete with those unit costs, forget the price that providers are able to charge for it. But for NDC to compete at those unit costs, perhaps because we have new generation technology that's powering us, perhaps the threshold's not the billions of transactions, but it's definitely in the hundreds of millions of transactions. So the business case is unclear, right? How much money do you deploy at what stage in your journey, especially because technology becomes obsolete very quickly, and the maintenance requirements are high. For example, we're supposed to be on the 21.3 version of NDC right now. 21.3 gets its name from the third quarter of 2021. We're actually in the first quarter of 2023. So it's almost like NDC 21.3 should be called 23.1 because of all of the challenges that we've had along the way. I can see some very distinguished guests in the audience today. The second learning or challenge that we've discovered as we embarked on this journey is that standards exist only in theory, and that in the real world, NDC means different things to different people. How they deploy it across the value chain varies significantly, and aggregating, normalizing, orchestrating, organizing, whatever it is that you want to call it, is an incredibly complex, engineering intensive task, and not everyone's cup of tea. Also, what NDC permits today and permits at scale today is relatively simple transactions. So prime booking works perfectly well, but there are a lot of complex scenarios, particularly around servicing, that have yet to achieve the usability and the functionality that exists in alternative forms of distribution. The third insight that we've had, or challenge that we're seeing, is what we know for a fact is that content differentiation drives adoption. When airlines are committed to differential content, the rest of the ecosystem starts to align themselves with that agenda. In the absence of content differentiation, it's just an expensive project, right? And the commitment to content differentiation in the airline ecosystem varies considerably, right? The IATA leaderboard airlines are obviously further along that path. We've got GDS surcharges. You've got, certain branded fares that are available only on the NDC platform. But equally, we've got a large number of airlines that are quite far from committing to content differentiation, and therefore quite far from helping justify any business case for any travel agency to embark on a change program. But the future is bright because we believe that we're at an inflection point in the industry where we are starting to see momentum build and momentum shift as well. And to talk about the opportunities, I'd like to bring on the guy, the second most knowledgeable guy on NDC on this planet. The first isn't me. He's actually our CTO and co-founder. I'm looking for him in the room, but he's not here. But the second most knowledgeable guy on NDC is George.
Oh, thanks, Rakshit, for those kind words. I am flattered. But on that high note, let me tell you, there is a bright future for the travel agencies to adopt NDC. There's been a lot of challenges that the travel agencies have gone through in the past, primarily hearing about NDC, the change that's going to be coming forward. But we want to put everybody at ease, saying that, yes, the only constant is change. So, as a travel agent, what is that a travel agent would get out of NDC? It's primarily differential content. So, when we talk about differential content, what are we primarily talking about? It's not just about having an Edifact surcharge. No. Long are those days gone. Now we're talking about continuous pricing by the airline. If an agency has to have access to continued pricing, you need to start evolving to the latest technology of NDC. Also, with NDC solution, what we provide is effectiveness and productivity. These are terms that go hand in hand. So, what is efficiency? And efficiency is a better way of servicing to your customer. Efficiency is about giving your customers what they would require. So let's say, for example, for an airline who wants to give a special offer to a customer, in the 40-year-old technology, it was highly unlikely. But with change in technology, it is possible that a travel agent can have access to these differential content and also to have a better productivity for yourself. In terms of productivity, what we also need to look at is it's not just about the fare, but it's all about the bundling. It's all about a seat plus ancillaries like meals, excess baggage, in-flight, lounge access, and so on. So things have evolved and started moving at a very fast pace, which also brings to an enhanced customer experience. So for your customer, if he travels on an airline with a front row seating, the airline now knows that the minute that the passenger identify themselves, they would be provided with a special offer. So it's an enhanced customer experience that the customer would have getting the content through your channel or through your service. So it brings about a 360-degree change in what you would be servicing your customers. So there's quite a lot of jargons that happened earlier. So what is that a travel agent should be seeking? First of all, it's all about source control. The travel agencies should be in power of controlling where the content is coming in from. So we're empowering the travel agencies to make those decisions. A travel agent should know whether it should be coming in from an Edifact channel, whether it should be coming in from a direct channel. Because it's not just one channel that is available at this point of time. Also, you should be able to have an option of customizing and also combining. What does that mean? It means that on an outbound leg, you could have a fare coming in from the Edifact system, and on the inbound, it could be coming in from a direct connection. You should also have the option of controlling based on the routes, based on carriers, based on the departure time, as well as cabin class. So with the solution that we offer, you are in control of what you would be able to do with your suppliers. Source control is just one aspect of it, but as a travel agent, the next biggest challenge or opportunity is how you manage your margin. Gone are those days where you talk about simple markups, but now it's all about pricing. It's how well you are in control about your pricing structure. There are differential pricing structures that you would be able to use. That's primarily based on your route, a carrier, the departure time, the cabin class, and the fare brand. What does this mean to a travel agent? It clearly means that you are in control of the system, you are in control of the offers that you're getting, and how you would maximize your revenue. And the last point here is the configuration. Probably it's a little difficult to see from the back, but it's a very user-friendly system where a travel agent can define rules based on multiple parameters. It is not just one element of it, but you can mix and match and then have the best results and optimize your revenue. We also provide an efficient process. So it means a single window solution. The biggest challenge that the consultant have today is shuffling between multiple windows. I've been a travel agent at one point of time, so I had the challenge of looking through multiple low-cost carrier windows, EDIFACT channel, and now comes the direct connect. But hey, with a one single window, all my concerns and pain points are blown away. What does the single window help me with? It helps me with comparison shopping. What is comparison shopping? It's not just about one airline. It helps me compare between multiple sources. So is it the EDIFACT source? Is it the direct connect source? I will be in control of what I see and what I choose from. Breaking it down further, even within the airline, I would be able to compare between brands. If my customer wants a fully flexible fare with meals, with baggage, I would be able to provide that thanks to the connectivity through NDC. So it brings in the overall change in how you would service your customer. Then comes intelligent preferencing. What does that mean? It completely takes away the way that you would now talk to a customer. You would know what your customer wants. You would be able to cater better to your customer needs. In turn, it optimizes the revenue. So you're no longer selling the lowest seat, but you're able to sell the branded fare. You're able to sell ancillaries. You, as a travel agent, is in control and is able to make those higher revenue from each sale. With all of these NDC jargons that's going around, the challenge is how is billing and settlement? The process is still the same. You would still have the option of your settlement through BSP or ARC, depending on which area it is. And also, our solution is provided in such a way that the solution talks to your back office. So it's a fully integrated system that we offer for our travel agents. So though you hear about a lot of things around NDC, it's not too difficult. We are able to simplify things and then provide you with the details.
I think it's also important to mention that you know, there's informed decision making to be made around source control. So where you want to source your content from, there's logic to be configured around how you price various elements of the offer, and then there's got to be a commercial engine that brings together various often competing rules in that space and makes an intelligent recommendation on both right sourcing as well as pricing, and offers transparency on end-to-end margin, including your sort of your override deals, your segment rebates, your front-end commission. So I think it's the ability to bring all of these together and then make informed customer-facing decisions is what I think is where we think we're headed. But just to summarize what we've just said is, NDC had a difficult birth, but we're at an inflection point, and we think tailwinds are now strong. We can see that in the data. We know opportunities exist because a lot of things that weren't possible for a very long time, travel agencies effectively have been sort of product takers and price takers from the original providers of that content. That role's changing as we move to a user pay model or pay to access model. The business case on where that margin comes from, that economic model, that business model is going to evolve. That dependency on back-end revenues, I think, will reduce, and that will need to be substituted either through cross-sell, upsell, contract optimization, contract margin optimization, supplier preferencing, and being able to build a value proposition that allows you to extract margin from a customer transaction. And finally, like I said, in order for unit costs to make sense, you have to build scale. We think early adopters will have an advantage because as they progress along that journey, as they amortize their investments over a large number of bookings or a large number of transactions, it will just become a sort of a virtuous cycle, and it will become hard for challengers to challenge and catch up going forward. So despite all of the hazards on this journey, the rewards of starting early are worthwhile in our opinion.
Thanks, Rakshit. Before we leave, we also have one round of questions. Julia, can I have? So we just want to do another poll, a quick poll. So while we're setting it up, can I request all of you to take out your phones, please?
You're like a quiz master.
But I still don't know the answers. Right, so let's bring it on. Can we have some names coming on?
You think Catman's going to rebrand?
Let's see.
Dude, there's a dude. There's a new and improved captain. Okay.
All right.
Let's go.
Let's run the polls. Let's see the results. Oh, there are more coming up.
Please be responsible in answering because we are going to craft our global strategy based on what you tell us. So I'm not surprised by this. I was expecting a lot of people to be very early in that thought process on this. The only thing I will say is I think the travel agency business got taken by surprise in the early 2000s by underestimating the shift to e-commerce. I think we're in a similar point of time and at a similar stage in the journey. There will be tectonic shifts, and I think it's important not to get taken by surprise this time around. On that note, questions?
Yep.
Do we have any questions? George would happily take questions from you.
Great. If there are no questions, please use the QR code, and then you can request a demo of our solution, and our team would be happy to take you through the solution. So I'm just going to leave it for another minute. Everybody can request for the demo.
The easier option is you can come up to George and take his phone number. He's very happy to hand his phone number out.
I've been backed by a strong team, so I'm sure they would handle it. Great.
Well, on that note, thank you very much. You've been a wonderful audience.
All right. Thanks, everyone.